Hi everyone, my name is Christopher Coney, and this is my POP3S and SMTPS protocols. Let's get started. So, Post Office Protocol 3. So, Office Protocol version 3 is an email retrieval protocol that allows clients to download messages from a mail server. The S in POP3S refers to POP3 over SSL/TLS, which enhances security by encrypting the communication between the client and server. It is commonly used by email clients to securely download emails from a mail server. POP3. This is the older protocol that was originally designed to be used on only one computer. It only supports one-way email synchronization instead of more modern protocols that use two-way. So, users can only download emails from a server, where they are held, to a client. It can be thought of as a store and forward service. Once the email is on the client, POP3 then deletes it from the server. It is built into the most popular email clients, including Microsoft Outlook. It is also built into standard internet browsers, including Internet Explorer. So what ports is the protocol used on? The POP3 protocol works on 2 ports by default. It works on port 110 by default, and this is the non-encrypted version, and POP3S works on port 995. And make sure when you are configuring POP3S, port 995 must be open on the server to allow clients to connect securely. When configuring on Linux, you can configure POP3S on a Linux server using the Dovecot mail server. And once Dovecot is installed, you need to configure the SSL/TLS certificates for encrypted connections. To do this, you need to obtain a certificate from a Trusted Certificate Authority, or CA. Then you need to edit the Dovecot configuration file to enable POP3 and POP3S. You also need to ensure all connections require SSL/TLS. And then the appropriate firewall ports need to be opened. This would be port 995. And in IP tables, you can use the command written here. So some hardening techniques. To harden your Linux-based mail server using Dovecot in this presentation, to securely serve POP3S, here are some key steps. You should disable plain text protocols. You should disable non-encrypted POP3 on port 110 to prevent insecure connections. This can be done in the mail server configuration files. In the firewall configuration, you can use IP tables to restrict access to port 995. And you should only allow trusted IP ranges or internal networks to access POP3S services. Another hardening technique is for logging and monitoring. This is very, very important. So you should enable logging for POP3S related activities. Mail servers list Dovecot activities in this directory listed here. Alright, now let's talk about SMTPS. The Simple Mail Transfer Protocol Secure. SMTPS is essentially SMTP with added encryption through SSL/TLS. It is a protocol used for secure email communication by adding an SSL/TLS layer to the standard SMTP. What is SMTP? It's a protocol for transferring emails from mail server to mail server until they reach their final destination. Once they reach their final destination, other protocols are used to retrieve the emails and allow users to read them. It's also an application layer protocol that runs on top of TCP/IP. Alright, so how does it work? SMTP transmits emails in plain text, which can be intercepted by attackers, leaving data vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attacks. And SMTPS is more secure for a few reasons. Encryption. TLS encrypts data as it traverses a network. Encryption is the process of scrambling data so that only parties with the correct decryption key can unscramble and view the data. This keeps the data secure as it travels through untrusted environments like the internet. Authentication. TLS uses digital signatures to ensure that network traffic comes from the place it claims to be from. Without this step, computers will accept data from imposters, attackers, or other malicious parties. And email integrity. Digital signatures also help ensure that data has not been tampered with. And which ports should we use with SMTP? The official default port for SMTPS is 587. Port 465 and 2525 are also used sometimes, though they are non-standard. Alright, so let's talk about some hardening recommendations for IIS. This will be on Windows. Number 1, you should enforce strong cipher suites. You should ensure that the server uses strong cipher suites such as AES 256 for SSL/TLS encryption, and disable weak protocols such as SSLv2, SSLv3, and TLS v1.0. You can modify the registry to specify the cipher suites and protocols allowed. 2, we should limit relaying to trusted domains. This will prevent your server from becoming an open relay by restricting mail relaying only to trusted domains or specific IP addresses. This reduces the risk of spam and misuse. And 3, we should enable DNS-based authentication. So you should implement SPF, Sender Policy Framework, DKIM, Domain Keys Identified Mail, and DMARC, Domain-Based Message Authentication, Reporting, and Conformance, to ensure email authenticity and reduce spoofing risks. Alright, last but not least, let's talk about some hardening recommendations for postfix. This will be on Linux machines. Number 1, we should enforce strong encryption algorithms. You can configure postfix to use only strong encryption algorithms such as EC, DHE, and AES for securing the connection. You can disable weaker algorithms with this setting here. And 2, we should limit authentication methods. So disable plain text authentication and enforce SASL mechanisms that require encryption. This will ensure that credentials are not transmitted in plain text. Right, and finally, we should restrict open relays. You can configure postfix to restrict relays to specific IP addresses and networks by modifying the main.cf file. This will ensure that only trusted IPs can relay email through your server, and this will prevent misuse by spammers. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Thank you.